And of course, slave labor is used exclusively in building out these bases. The first bases were built out successfully in the 1950s. The Germans had a lot of difficulties. In the area of Mars, they were building out bases at first. There were huge dust storms that caused major electrostatic discharges that was destroying all of their equipment. It was only within a certain region of the North and South Pole that they found that they could have the technologies before they were able to shield them that wouldn't be affected by these storms. And a lot of these people in the beginning came from the brain drain era and were brought in to programs with big promises, sort of like what Laura Eisenhower, they tried to feed her, but she was wise enough to say no. Many were not. They were told, you will live like the Jetsons. And they showed them videos of underground bases here that the elite live in, and they said, this is how you're going to live. So people said, of course, I'll do this. But the reality is, this is how they ended up living. When they arrived, they were treated like cattle. They were told their children would be trained in whatever job they wanted them to. They would be married off to whoever they thought would most be genetically compatible with them. They were prisoners. There are many types of reptilians. The reptoid ones are often mistaken for graves, and they claim to be the original inhabitants of our planet. The Draco Royals are white, 14 foot tall, very invasive in their communications telepathically. And they control the joint underground bases. Yes, my favorite meeting. That same month, I was told that I was going to be meeting with the Draco Alliance. And the Draco Alliance, the people I was going to meet with were a Draco White Royal and some of the insectoids that were there with the Draco White Royal. That's supposed to represent me, and this 14-foot tall monster was one of the top White Royals. I've had a lot of people say it was inky and stuff like that. He gave me his name, and it was nothing like that. It was a very Middle Eastern sounding name. I made the mistake of telling David, and he calls the name out all the time, and I'm telling him, do not say the name out loud. It's not a good idea. What sticks out the most, beyond how invasive this being was when it interfaced with you, was the smell. It was kind of a musky urine smell. It was horrible. And there were, I thought there were 6, but Gonzalez said there were 5 women that were there that were obviously slaves. And as we left, we were able to bring them with us as a part of, as a good faith towards the negotiation they were trying to get us to take to the SBA. They were human girls, yes. They were all blondes. I was taken by a different shuttlecraft to I'm believing it was somewhere in the southwest United States. From the top we landed on the roof of a hotel, an abandoned hotel, and looking out I could see a desert environment. We went down an elevator that, just like in the movies, a glass elevator in the front, and you look down, and it's kind of like one of those garden hotels. And as we were going down, we could see all these beings standing out below us, and it was just a very ominous feeling. You're getting closer and closer and closer to them. And these were obviously very evil beings. At this point, the Royal White reached out and grabbed my mind, and immediately all I could perceive was this being. Everything else in the room I didn't even know existed, and its eyes started morphing, changing
colors and just, I really don't know how to explain it. They kept almost pulsating. And it took me off guard. I'd never had a being communicate with me that was that powerful. Now, there were humans there. There were humans there that were a part of this committee of 200. And they overheard what was going on and reported it to the rest of their different cabal groups. And this caused, for a short time, a huge uprising among the cabal, because this white Draco offered to leave all of their lower caste and human servants in the hands of the global authorities if they were allowed to leave from our solar system. So this was seen as a major betrayal by a lot of these cabal groups and other non-terrestrials that are a part of this alliance. Yeah, I was lucky enough not to be the one that delivered this news, but the request was denied, and I refused to ever meet with another one of these beings ever again. And not too long after Gonzalez had the same experience as I did, he thought that I was exaggerating the power of this being, and it took 3 days to get over this etheric hangover that this being gave me. It was a massive headache all to the back of my skull. And then Gonzalez ended up having the exact same experience.
And here's the ones we'd love to hate, the reptilians. People know more about them than just about any other race. But there are a lot of different types of reptilian types of beings. Some of them are rather short, like 3.5, 4 feet tall. They have a head shaped like the guy there on the right. That's kind of a gray alien kind of look. They kind of look like gray aliens. And a lot of people that have been abducted by them or have had experiences with them have thought that they were picked up by the Greys when it was actually this group. And of course, we have the tall, white reptilians that are the royalty. These beings they're incredibly telepathic. Like, I've interfaced with a number of different types of beings, but nothing that, and I hate to use the word, but it almost seemed like rape. They grab your mind, they force you to experience what they want you to experience, and it's a humiliating experience, and it drains you. A lot of these other beings, they are very give and take in their communications with you, and don't just take you over. A lot of these reptilian groups, they run joint bases with modern humans, and we've been working alongside with them for at least, the Americans, at least since the 50s, when, after Operation Paperclip allowed the Germans to infiltrate the military-industrial complex and pretty much take it over. So, as a part of the inner Earth, I guess we're a part of the inner Earth now. We're setting up deep underground military bases all over the planet, under the ocean, very deep, and we're competing for territory with some of these older groups. A lot of the reason why they've been stating that they're putting all these bases in the ground is for continuity of government, which is a little ridiculous. That's the same reason that they have built these different bases on Mars. They state that they built these for continuity of species instead of continuity of government. If Earth was wiped out, they would have a genetic stock of humans to draw from. As I stated, all these unacknowledged projects go on. Human cloning. Cloning has been going on for a long time. We supposedly didn't discover genetics until, was it 56, around that range? Well, we were working with non-terrestrials doing genetic experiments in the 30s and 40s. So this has been going on quite a bit longer than most of us would think, the genetic part and our involvement in it. We, of course, reverse engineer technology and do a lot of research and development. And they try to keep it below the area where they would be held accountable legally for what they do to a lot of the human guinea pigs. Everyone has probably seen this map. And what's interesting is that these maglev trains, they do run all over the planet, but there is a much older maglev train system that is non-terrestrial. It is larger, and we've accidentally cut into it, drilling holes a few times. And, they run us out and tell us, don't come back. But there is a much, much larger underground tunnel network that the non-terrestrials use. Recently, I received a report that I wasn't sure about, but David Wilcock talked to Pete Peterson, one of his insiders, and he seemed to back it up. After the election, a lot of these bases, FEMA-type bases, were supposed to be turned over and to the next administration's leadership. A lot of these people refused to do so. They locked the doors and said they weren't coming out. So we sent in Marines. The Marines went down and took forever to break through all of the concrete, the rebar, this reinforced steel. And they were told, once they broke through, to give everyone in the base one opportunity to surrender. If they refused to surrender or responded violently, they were ordered to wipe out all inhabitants, to wipe out everybody. Unfortunately, they did not completely brief a lot of these Marines that they might run into non-terrestrial beings. So a lot of these guys, they were really freaking out. They had a lot of problems because they went in, it was bad enough that they were having to kill all these humans, but now they were face to face with 8-foot-tall devils. And they were doing battle with them. Of course, we eventually, took the bases, but these soldiers, I've heard, they did not take it well, and they have not been recovering well from it.